Hi, everyone. My name is Dana Gelsomino, and this is episode 18 of the Ask a Question show, the show in which you ask a question about any type of narcissistic or otherwise abusive or toxic relationship or situation, and I, along with the rest of the community here, will do our very best to help answer it. Our goal is to give you the feedback and the support that you need so that you can move forward in getting the clarity, the closure, and the healing that you so deserve. And so today's question comes from Jessie, and Jessie asks, Dear Dana, how do narcissists manipulate? I seem to keep getting caught up with these people and I don't realize it until it's too late. Help! Okay, Jesse, I hear you. I totally hear you loud and clear. I felt the exact same way. I think there's probably a lot of people out in our community here that are in the same boat. So my 2 cents on it. So let me kind of recap. When we're talking about narcissists, for those people that are new to the channel, we're not talking about somebody who's just selfish or self-absorbed, although that can be part of the problem. But the larger issues when you're dealing with a person that we would call a narcissist is you're dealing with a person who has a pattern of long-standing behavior where they lack empathy, they lack remorse, they have a blinding degree of selfishness, a jaw-dropping level of entitlement, and they exploit people. And so these are the more problematic behaviors that we're talking about. So the question really is, so how do manipulative people manipulate? And why are you not realizing it until it's too late? So manipulative people manipulate, I believe, in 6 different main ways. I will put the list down below in the description area here. So this is my take on it all. There's 6 main points. It's an acronym I call ICHIVE, and it stands for isolation, charm, hope, intimidation, violence, and emotion. And so the number one tool for manipulative and abusive people is isolation. They do this through love bombing. They do this through moving their victim out in the middle of nowhere. They do this by cutting off ties or either forcefully or implying that they should cut off ties to either having a job or access to money somehow, or cutting off ties with friends and family. So once they've been able to kind of isolate that victim, then the mind games really begin. And it's all of that kind of crazy making behavior where the victim can't tell, is it me or is it him? Who has the problem here? And of course, when I say him, narcissists can be male or female. They're, any age, any gender, any sexual orientation, any role in our life. They can be, significant others, or they can be your neighbor or your parent or your child, and so on. So isolation is a key one. The C in Chive is charm. So the good ones, the highly manipulative people, come across as very, very charming. They're kind of the Bill Cosbys or the Scott Petersons of the world. And they are very convincing. They're oftentimes very likable. And so when they do have when their bad behavior does surface, like Bill Cosby, it's really hard for the rest of us to look at that and believe it. Because it's, who on earth would have believed that about Bill Cosby? And of course, I think the victims knew that. And that was one of the reasons they didn't come forward, because it's like, who's going to believe me? He's America's dad. He's this wonderful guy. And I am, a budding actress. And they're just going to think I'm sleeping my way to the top. But of course, that was intentional on his part, right? To target these kinds of women that had these vulnerabilities about their situation. So it would look that way if he ever got discovered. So charm is a big one. H stands for hope. Again, another big tool for abusive people is hope. Hope dies last. And hope in the sense of they do this future faking where they pretend that, kind of given enough time, given enough love, given enough second chances or 20-second chances or therapy or rehab or what have you, if enough other things happened, then the victim and this abusive person could eventually have this great life together. But there's just these like huge, elephants in the room that they need to get worked out first. But, once those elephants leave, everything will be fine. But victims tend to be very giving, very understanding, overly understanding, really is what it is, people. And so we tend to buy everything that they're saying. We take these people at face value. A lot of times we don't even realize that there are these kinds of really manipulative people in the world. Again, we kind of go around thinking that the bad people are really easy to spot. And, that the bad people, again, look like bad people. They act like bad people. They aren't likable. or funny or charming or whatever, those give me bad people like that any day of the week, because you can spot them a mile away. Like, those people aren't manipulative. Like, those are pretty easy to see, like, that guy's trouble, I'm leaving, right? It's the charming, likable, convincing ones that are the wolves in sheep's clothing, the ones that are really, really dangerous. So hope. So victims, of course, don't realize that they're with this person who is that can be possibly likable, but also be so destructive. And so they hang on to this hope that they really can change, because they think their partner is with, they think that their partner's with a person who's a normal, decent human being that has the capacity and will eventually have the desire to change. And 9 out of 10 times, well, I shouldn't even say that. I think in general, people, in order for a person to change, you have to have a sincere desire to change, coupled with, motivation to change and a lasting, applied effort in the direction of the change that you want to occur. If you don't have any of that, then you don't have a person that has a sincere desire to change. Words are free and easy, right? It's easy to talk about all day long. Oh yeah, I totally want to change, totally want to go to therapy, we're going to do this. I want to make things really work, and I will prove to you that I love you. And they're just words, right? Because the actions aren't consistent. They might go to therapy twice, if you can even get them that far, which don't even get me going on that. Or they can, they'll go to rehab for a week, or they'll make some sort of like half-assed effort towards change, but it doesn't last because it was never sincere. So hope dies last. That's H. I is intimidation. These are threats. These can either be implied, explicit or implied. So explicit threats would be examples of, I'm going to kill you if you leave me. I'm going to hurt somebody you love. I'm going to hurt the pets. I'm going to, have some sort of really, there's going to be consequences if I don't get my way, basically. The victim might come out to their car, their tires are slashed, a rock might be through their window, these kinds of things. And I guess that can kind of also be more of like implicit type threats, where whatever they're doing can't be like tied directly to them, or it might come across as to other people as not as scary as it's coming across to the victim. So like, you might get a note under your windshield wiper on your car, right? And they might say something like, "Oh, thinking of you." Well, to the police, to other friends and family, especially if they're charming, that can come across as, "Oh, I would love to have that kind of attention," or "You're so lucky," or "Why don't you try to make it work? He's obviously sorry." And to the victim realizes, this guy's batshit crazy, and there's nothing romantic about this at all, and they're terrified. But then, of course, they feel crazy because nobody else sees it as the threat that it really is. Because basically, by doing that, right, by putting a note under somebody's windshield wiper after you've had kind of, this scary roller coaster ride with them, it lets the victim know, hey, I know exactly where you are. I have access to you, and I'm thinking about you. So it's very intimidating. It's very serious. And so that's different types of threats. Of course, threatening violence. They might be punching holes in walls to give you the idea of, you might be next, that kind of thing. Or saying, if you divorce me, I'm going to go after your retirement, or I'm going to go after full custody. Again, like just threats that keeps the victims in this relationship. So V, and the CHIVE acronym, stands for violence. And again, this can be, physical abuse. This can be sexual abuse. This is where it really escalates, and the person's and it starts off, physical violence generally doesn't start off by somebody just getting hit. It starts off with getting like spit on, or slapped, or bitten, or just kind of being roughly handled. Somebody grabbing your shirt, or grabbing your arm roughly, or and you'll know when you're going through this, because it's all of a sudden that behavior just kind of changes, and you're like, wow, they've never touched me like that before, and where did that come from? And it's scary. And of course, they're full of apologies, and of course we believe them. That's how this dance goes. Instead, we should really walk away and have standards for how we expect to be treated. And if somebody violates those standards, to be okay with cutting bait and not looking back. So E, The last one is they manipulate through emotion, through a combination of using pity, guilt, or love. There's kind of that old saying out there, the most dangerous words an abusive person can use are "I love you," and that's so true because again, you have a victim who is probably a normal, decent, kind human being and who's overly understanding. And so this abusive person is exploiting that. And they're saying things like, well, I really love you. I really want to make this work. I'm going to just really, really put on this whole production that's going to convince you and your family and your friends and the neighbors that I'm a really good guy and that you should give me a second chance. And I'm gonna also maybe throw in some guilt. So saying stuff like, well, you came from a divorced household, like you don't want to do that to the kids, do you? And or I can't believe you're really leaving me. Like I love you so much, and yes, I have issues, but I promise, like this time, I will go to therapy. I will find God. I will go to rehab. I will do whatever you need me to do in order to stay in your life and let this continue. Is really what they're saying. Or pity, well, I'm an alcoholic. How can you leave me now? Don't leave me now. I have no one. I have no one. No one but you. Nobody but you. I need you to help me. Or I came from a really bad childhood and I don't know these things. Like you're lucky. You didn't have the childhood that I have. And, again, right? And so then you have this like overly understanding person who, again, instead of saying, I'm really sorry, because probably a lot of that's true. I'm really sorry that that's why you drink and hit and lie and cheat and steal. But, these are the standards I have for my life. And this is probably not a good idea to tell somebody else, but to tell yourself that, these are the standards that I have. This is what I'm looking for in another human being. This person is not it at all. This person is dangerous and destructive and will only serve to cause me, hurt and heartache in my life if I leave them in. I need to walk away and cut bait and drive on. So, and then, so that's kind of how they manipulate. You also ask the point of you don't realize it until it's too late. Well, I'm going to say that you do realize it. On some level, you've probably had your gut instinct, your spidey sense going off the whole time. And in order to really keep these people out of your life, half of the equation is being able to realize that these kinds of people really do exist in the world, and then to be able to spot manipulative behavior for what it is early on. And so you have it on your radar of possibility, because I think a lot of us, myself included, our radars just weren't set to even scan for, decent people, for the wolves in sheep's clothing out there. So set your radar beam wider to scan for this. And of course, this is not to make you paranoid, but it is to make you have a healthy level of skepticism, which is what we need in this world. It's not just, society's going downhill. No, it's always been like this. So, again, set your radar beam wide. Trust is earned. It's not blindly given. The whole point of dating is to really discern whether or not this person is healthy and stable and solid and sincere and is what you are looking for your life, right? So it's not about being in a relationship and, being there for them. That's fantastic, and that's a big part of it. But in order for that to be healthy, for those qualities to be healthy, you have to use logic and reason early on. And so that's kind of where we all get this twisted around, is we tend to base our decisions based off of emotion. And then down the road, we fight our logic and reason. This is why we're second guessing ourselves. There's so much confusion. There's so much doubt. We're not, listening to our logic and reason. And then until it gets bad enough, until it is too late. And then we jump ship. So you've got to reverse the approach. Use logic and reason when you're first meeting somebody. Screen them like it's kind of like an interview process, and finding out more information about who they are and their morals and their values and their hopes and their dreams and their goals and their kind of trajectory in life, and a little bit about and probably a lot about their past is what you're going to want to find out, and see really who is this person. And is this what you're looking for in your life? And it's okay to say, no, this person's not what you're looking for, and then to keep driving on. So I hope that clarified things. I will be curious to see what the rest of the community here has to say. You guys take care. If you have any, as always, any questions, comments, concerns, frustrations, ideas, insights, you need some support, you just want to say hi, please let me know. Contact info is all down below. And that is it for episode 18. Talk to you guys soon. And as always, lots of love to you. You are not alone and you are not crazy. Please go with your gut instinct and your common sense. It is there for a reason. And you really can move forward and you can heal from this. But having healthy expectations and healthy boundaries and healthy standards is critical. There are no shortcuts around that. So please work on that and pour your energy into building a fantastic life for yourself, because that's the best revenge. So take care. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.
Hey guys, how you doing? It's your man, Tim Black. You tuned into it. Welcome to the Tim Black Show. Tonight, I have a special guest, a special friend of mine, a columnist, author, writer. This man has done it all. He's a phenomenal Bernie Sanders supporter, phenomenal writer. You all know him. We all love him. He's part of the community. My friend, H.A. Goodman, in the house. H.A. Goodman, say hello to the people.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much, Tim. I really appreciate being on your show. Thank you.
No problem, man. You know what? I think my people would actually come and get me if I didn't have your back. They like you that much, H.A., man. They are really feeling you, man. And besides, there is so much to talk about. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. First, I want to thank you for everything that you're doing for Bernie Sanders and his campaign. And you're a powerful voice, man. And really, you pump me up. When I listen to you, you pump me up. So, this whole thing is, this whole campaign with Bernie Sanders against both Trump and Clinton, I consider them both Republicans. Love it. This is a battle, a psychological and emotional battle. So Clinton wants everybody to think, well, she's wrapped it up and everything. In my book, from a long time ago, there's one Democrat not linked to an FBI criminal investigation. That's Bernie Sanders. So this is not about delegate count. Hillary Clinton, that whole thing's going down. I mean, her campaign yesterday, basically the State Department stated that her convenience excuse, that whole thing evaporated, because her excuse for owning the private server outside U.S. government networks and never owning a state.gov email address, which is what Rice, Powell, every other Secretary of State had a state.gov email address. Her rationale in never using a state.gov and only using a private server that was unencrypted for 3 months was this. The State Department allowed me. It was convenience and it was above board, and I abided by State Department policy. Now, Tim, the rats are abandoning ship. And so essentially what's taking place is this. The State Department yesterday came out with a report. In the State Department report, it stated that Hillary Clinton broke rules and that there is no documentation in the legal department at the State Department. There's no documentation of anyone signing off on her private server. So nobody wants to be associated with the impending indictments, because the FBI is going to indict her, most likely under the Espionage Act, and there's other crimes that she's probably committed. But the thing with the Espionage Act is you can be indicted just for being stupid. So gross negligence is enough to prosecute and indict under the Espionage Act. So if I go ahead and on my computer, I say, you know what, I don't want to use secure State Department servers. I want to use my server, but I know that I'm going to be receiving 22 top secret emails, because as Secretary of State, she's going to be receiving these emails. 22 top secret emails on an unguarded private server is a crime, because it's a crime under the Espionage Act to put classified information, definitely top secret information, on an unguarded network that spies and other nations can access.
You know what, H.A., let me cut in right there, because for some reason it seems like we keep saying the same things, we keep driving home the point, but there are certain people who just don't get it. Listen to what H.A. just said. Now, I want to just break this down to the barest form and just say this. Just imagine working for a job and never, ever using the email that was given to you at that job. As Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton used her own email account for everything, not just some stuff. And as Secretary of State, you would have to imagine, as HA said, she would have to imagine, if she's a reasonably intelligent, functional human being, that she would receive classified information. She's Secretary of State. So there is really, like HA, there's really no wiggle room on this. But every time you say it, maybe it's because we say it so eloquently. Maybe there's something, I don't, you get where I'm going with this, HA. Like people don't grasp it.
No, you know what it is? You know what it is, Tim? Yeah. It's this. For guys like you and me, when we hear that state secrets, classified information, top secret information on a government official's private server, we say, no, I don't trust that person, okay? Other people say, well, what's the worst that could happen? And this is what I say to those people, okay? I say right now to every Hillary supporter watching, put your social security card number, your bank account information, your address, every love letter you've ever written. Put that on your friend's private server, which is most likely a lot safer than your computer, right?
Right.
Put that on your friend's private server, Hillary supporters, and then come back and say Hillary's qualified. And this is the thing. And Tim, when I did some research, and very simple research, when you look at the 22 top secret emails, within those emails, there's a handful, there's about 4 or 5. There's 4 or 5 pieces of information or emails pertaining to the country's special access program. Now, America's SAP program has to do oftentimes with what's called black projects. And these black projects are associated with black sites. It's similar to black ops. And basically, it's intelligence or military or defense projects that the American government denies the existence of. So she had intelligence that is said to be not existing. Wow. Okay, and rest assured, Putin has them. Okay, so everybody has. Okay, so now we can't certain projects or intelligence files that we say, you know what, this thing is not happening in this location, it doesn't exist. Well, now we don't know if other nations have this information. Just like a person wouldn't know if their social security card number was compromised if they put it on someone else's private server. We don't know if these black projects now are known by enemy nations. Right. And I stated this, Tim, on my YouTube channel, and I know that people are going to say it's hyperbole, and I know that people are going to say, oh my God, right now we basically spent in 2 years against ISIS. It's called Operation Inherent Resolve, and it's in the Department of Defense website. $7 billion in 2 years fighting ISIS. Okay. Anyone can hack anything nowadays. It's 2016.
That's right.
Why is it that people can't even fathom, can't even imagine, never tell this to Hillary supporters because they'll think it's a big conspiracy. We're in a war with ISIS. She had an unguarded private server. Why is it beyond doubt that ISIS could have hired a hacker to hack into that private server? It's possible. So the thing is, it's like when you have a president of the United States of America. When I voted for Barack Obama twice, one of the reasons, because trust is a big issue. I know that he's going to use the White House or the United States government networks. He doesn't have anything to hide. He doesn't have a foundation, billions and billions of dollars. He doesn't have a weapons deal scandal. He doesn't have a foreign donor scandal. He doesn't have a whole bunch of issues.
Right.
So the thing is, why am I going to, and Bernie Sanders, we know is an honest man. We know that what he wants to, go on.
It would already be out by now, AJ. If he wasn't an honest man, people would have been throwing that at the wall at this point. But, I want to back up just a second to say, you hear a lot of people pushing back about Hillary's emails, and they say, well, look at Colin Powell. Colin Powell, she keeps using this name and bringing up Colin Powell. Look, Colin Powell, when he was Secretary of State, they just started using email. Yeah. And he was like the test project for email accounts, right? So you're aware of that, right, Jay?
Yeah. No, you're 100% right. And first of all, let me say this: if a child went to you, okay, if our kids went to us, or if someone's child went to the parents and said, "Well, my friends did this, why can't I do that?" You would say to that child, focus on yourself, and it doesn't matter what other people do. The point is this: even if Republicans committed a crime, the FBI should have been on top of it, number one. Number two, the FBI wasn't. Number three, Powell and Rice had a state.gov emails. State.gov email. They did not have a private server connected to the State Department to get that top secret information. This is the whole issue. So I want to ask you, and this is something that Powell and Rice never did, and the Republicans never did. You have an IT background, and I don't have. So I don't really know the ins and outs. Like, I know I'm smarter than Clinton, because Clinton said, whoa, what do you mean wipe with the cloth? Like, she didn't know apparently what wiping a server was. She thought it was like wiping it with a cloth. But my question to you, because you have an IT background, Tim, how do you transfer 22 top secret emails that have SAP information in them from the secure government network? Because the State Department has a bunch of different networks. They have a special network inside there only for top secret data. How do you get that from the secure government network onto a private server in someone's home? How does that happen, like in terms of the IT perspective? How does that happen?
Well, the only way they could do it is they would have to reroute the incoming as it was entering her mailbox on the State Gov Department. That guy, whoever that person was, would have to develop some type of install some type of program that would reroute the information. So not only was it compromised, when they actually stored it on their cloud or wherever they stored it, the hard drive, wherever they put it, but also the travel from the State Department to Hillary. Because remember, it's not sanctioned, so it's not a direct connection between state government and these people that she's talking to her. So it's got to travel a pathway that is rigged basically to reroute the information. Sort of like you can do a redirect on pretty much anything. I guess he would have to have access to the information to say what domain it's coming from and what servers what server information he would need to plug in to have that stuff rerouted. It's not easy to do. At least I wouldn't think it's easy to do. And you shouldn't be able to do it. But
well, my question also, okay, Brian Pagliano is the guy who was granted immunity because he did this. Okay, my question to you is, he would inherent in doing that, he needs to have help from somebody at the State Department, right?
You would think so. Like, he would have to have information that Hillary probably wouldn't be able to give him. I'm just guessing she wouldn't know what the servers are for their Microsoft Exchange. I'm assuming they use Microsoft Exchange. Most government, the government facilities I worked at, the government agencies I worked at, use Microsoft. So they would have to know the secret routing information for that. Someone had to know something.
So someone had to. So that's the thing. That goes into what I was kind of thinking, and now you've helped me confirm it. This guy Pagliano, and with Clinton, first of all, 4 years of his emails gone, vanished in the State Department. So that's also shady. Okay, nobody knows what's going on there. Everything happens. Clinton, you just never know what's taking place. Everything is, disappeared. Convenience. This is completely insane. But what I don't understand is, like you explained, well, they have to reroute it, and obviously Clinton doesn't know the information. None of her aides know the information. So somebody at the State Department had to have helped Brian Pagliano transfer that. And then the question is this: it's a fact that it was unencrypted for 3 months.
Wow.
I also heard. Let me ask you this from an IT background. I heard that if it's unencrypted for 3 months, there's a way to ensure that it would remain unencrypted even after those 3 months. Wow. Is that possible?
Wow. Wow. I don't know if they were able to hack into it while it was unencrypted. They may be able to get some information about it, which would allow them to install a program maybe on the server that would be hide from detection. I mean, that's what, like you said earlier, there are people who do this thing for a living. This is how they make their money. So look, if you are unencrypted and you open your door to the bank at some point, I could see somebody going in there, planting a bug, and being able to make it so in the future they'd be able to look in no matter what you do.
All right, and so that's the thing. I mean, this all goes back to what I've been saying. I remember many months back. Last year, I was saying Bernie Sanders was the front runner. And people said, oh, you're crazy. Oh, yeah. I was saying this because, you and I, we remember a time, Tim, when presidential campaigns did not have FBI criminal investigations. That was bad.
Yeah.
Like if you want to marry somebody and you say, well, will you marry me? And then, by the way, I just have an FBI criminal investigation. I hope you don't mind. That's not going to, the wedding bells are not going to be in the future, most likely,
No,
right?
you get that cleared up first, and then maybe we'll see how we feel about one another. Right.
Exactly. Get that FBI criminal investigation cleared up. But my thing is, Bernie Sanders, not only does he embody every progressive value that quote unquote Democrats are supposed to address, okay? And not only did, and this is a big thing for me, not only did Hillary Clinton use a racist 3 a.m. ad against Barack Obama in 2008, and I'll explain the relevance of that right now, but Bernie Sanders doesn't have a criminal FBI investigation. So obviously he's not at risk of jail time in his first term as president. That's a no-brainer. But
it's kind of huge. Yeah, it's kind of big right there.
Yeah, and so, but one quick thing about the 3 a.m. ad, that was the Democratic version of the Willie Horton ad. And most people, I mean, you'll never get anybody at the Daily Beast or Slate. They don't care about the 3 a.m. ad. And they don't care about the fact that she takes money from prison lobbyists. Hillary Clinton does. But the thing with the 3 a.m. ad, and Harvard University's Orlando Patterson has a brilliant op-ed that he wrote in 2008 regarding the racist sub-message. And in that, and this directly correlates to this insane email fiasco, Hillary Clinton said Barack Obama was not trustworthy because at 3 a.m. in the morning, you might get a call. And the subtext that Hillary Clinton was trying to push was, do you want to trust this black man at 3 a.m. in the morning? Right. That was a subtext that Harvard University's Orlando Patterson talked about in his op-ed.
Right. That's absolutely right. I remember that op-ed, man. I remember a lot of things. I remember the Muslim garb picture that her campaign exposed. I remember the I don't know, he said he's a Christian, so I mean, that's what he says. I remember that equivocating.
Or she's bringing up Bobby Kennedy's assassination.
Oh, gosh.
Okay. I mean, there's no level that she won't cross. But the thing what I'm saying is Clinton had the audacity to run a racist 3 a.m. ad questioning the capabilities of Barack Obama answering a call at 3 a.m. She couldn't even type an email without a nationwide scandal. Okay,
good point.
She couldn't even type an email. You can't store an email without an FBI investigation. I mean, you're that incompetent. So
like she says, hey, I don't know, HA, I don't know. Look, hey, I just want to be president. I don't need to. I don't know how to work these things. I don't know how to work the Google or the internet. And you know what? It's insulting to our intelligence, HA, and a lot of people won't talk about it, but I'm sure you will. HA, do you truly believe in your heart of hearts? I know we don't have evidence to this effect, but do you believe that the only reason why she put her email on a separate server was because she wanted the convenience? Do you believe there was some nefarious reason for her doing this?
Do you know what? And that is the basis for everything. Okay, first of all, the State Department just destroyed the convenience thing. So it's convenient when the State Department allows it, but it's not convenient when the State Department said you broke rules, we can't find anybody to sign off on it, and that was the report just the other day. But I think there's something nefarious. But let's say, for example, she just wanted to hide from Republicans. So now the whole kind of spin nowadays, well, the Republicans are after her, and you can understand, right? She wanted to hide from those crazy Republicans. That's actually illegal. That's against, because you know what? You can't have Trump with his own private server. If it's Trump Clinton, I believe Bernie's going to defeat Trump. But if it's Trump Clinton, Trump's going to take it. She already loses in an average of polls to him. And this is the Antichrist, Donald Trump. So the point is she's already losing. Okay, you put any challenger next to Clinton, people are going to flock to the challenger. So it's Obama, Bernie Sanders now tied the other week in polls, and he's only less than 300 delegates away. Okay, which is not about delegate count, but I mean, look what 10 million people voted for Bernie. His message is inspiring. There's nothing inspiring about Clinton. So the thing is, convenience, when it comes to a ridiculous, insane excuse, anyone could commit a crime and say it's convenient. Well, you know what? It was just convenience. I had that gun. It was smoking. It's convenience. I like to have that. So, I mean,
sometimes you got to rob banks, HA. Sometimes you got to rob the bank, So it's convenient to get free money, HA.
It's right there. The money's there. It's convenient. But, the thing with the convenience excuse is this. It's one of two things. I believe that as much as I write, you know, in support of Bernie and against Clinton, I believe Clinton is an extremely intelligent human being. Mm. You would have to be an utter and complete moron to use a private server for convenience, knowing that you're going to get top secret information. And there's another issue with the convenience excuse. When she says, and when her corrupt campaign says, well, it's retroactively classified. You know, we can't, she was briefed. The FBI and the security, American security, the intelligence community briefed her when she became Secretary of State in her book, Hard Choices, which, by the way, is such a Clintonian title. It's a hard choice. It can go either way. You know, we just don't know.
Yeah,
hard choice. You know, hey,
you let the Haitians make 60 cents an hour or you don't. You know, it's a hard choice. Exactly. Extreme poverty or just poverty. I mean, it's a hard choice.
Exactly. And the Honduras coup and Libya and the Iraq war. And, you know, it's just a hard choice, right?
Everything. All of those good things.
Absolutely. And so the thing is, when she says that it's convenience, it's one of two things. Either she's a complete moron or she's intelligent enough to claim convenience because she has something to hide. So,
and you know what, H.A., that tack right there you just took, man, that's important because as the first woman president, that's a horrible way for her to try to wiggle out. Like, I just didn't know, as if she's incapable of understanding the gravity of the situation. And as the first, you know, really viable female president or nominee for president or candidate for president, you would think that that'd be something that you want to champion. Like, I'm really, you know, there's some mistakes I think that Obama's made in his time as president. No one is perfect, but I never felt that what he's doing will damage the legacy or sort of scorch the earth for future candidates who are running. Hillary Clinton, what she's doing right now, this is horrible, and setting a precedence that somehow she has a different level or bar of acceptability or a different bar of, I don't know, intelligence or knowledge of what's going on. Like, she could just say, hey, you know, well, I just don't know these things. Let the guys worry about the technology. And, you know, come on, man. Like, is there really anyone that dumb, that dense, H.A.,
well,
when you say wiping a computer would actually think they meant a cloth? I mean, come on, H.A.
Well, you know what?
Hillary's horrible.
I agree 100% with you. And the Hillary supporters, people vote for Hillary because, for several reasons. One is the allure of political power. Two, they live in a world where Republicans are worse. So anything that Clinton does, and I'm a lifelong Democrat, yeah, the Republicans are crazy. So why is that the standard? You know, why is that the standard? You don't, like I said, like, you don't say, well, you know, you don't live your life based on lesser evils. You don't say, you know, that car really sucks, but it doesn't suck as bad as the other car, so I'm going to buy it. You don't say that. So the thing,
especially when you got a better option.
Exactly, you got a better option in Bernie Sanders, big time. And the thing is, you know, one thing about Hillary Clinton, and I'll say this: nobody the Clintons have been through so many scandals, people have tuned out. And people say, well, what's the worst that could happen with a private server? It's not what's the worst that could happen only. It's the fact that it's against the law to put top secret information on a network outside government service. If Hillary supporters want to say, well, it was safer, then they have to prove it, because they wouldn't put their social security card number, they wouldn't put their bank account address on someone else's network, right? The main thing, like you said, is this. When you brought up President Obama, I happen to think the worst thing that ever happened to President Obama was Hillary Clinton. Mm-hmm. When you, and there's a couple of things. He had a Fox News interview, and President Obama did not have to do that Fox News interview. He did the Fox News interview recently, and they asked him, what was your biggest mistake? He said, my biggest mistake, and there's two things he said that I think he's trying to say a lot more. He said, my biggest mistake was Libya. Not planning after Libya. Well, Hillary Clinton called the Iraq war a mistake. She repeated the mistake in Libya. So that's Obama's biggest mistake. So now she has two giant mistakes in Iraq and Libya. The second thing is this. People thought that President Obama was defending Clinton when he said, and this is the exact quote. The exact quote was, I continue to believe she didn't jeopardize national security. If somebody were to tell you, I continue to believe that you're honest, you would take that almost like an insult, right? Like, I continue to believe I could be wrong. But,
right.
You know, so that's kind of like, you know, attorney speak.
Yeah.
So when he says, I continue to believe she didn't jeopardize national security, he's not saying she didn't, because he knows she did. But he also said there was a level of carelessness.
He did say that, exactly.
He did not have to say that, Tim.
You're right.
Telling you, and this is the first time I ever, well, I said it on my YouTube channel, but the first time I've ever said it in another show. I think that President Obama, at the end of the day, needs a Clinton indictment. He needs a Clinton indictment.
Wow. Hold on. You got to explain that. Why do you feel that way, H.A.?
This email fiasco will go on forever. If, let's just say, I believe she's going to get indicted. Let's just say she becomes president. It will never, ever end, because the FBI is going to have to explain the precedent. So they're going to, if let's say the FBI doesn't indict, they're going to have to say, well, you know, we're not indicting, but here's why it's legal to transfer top secret information on a private server. Here's why it's legal to delete 30,000 emails without government oversight. Here is why it's legal, and there's no problem at all, to spend half the time. Tim, she had 60,000 emails, around 60,000. 30,000 were deemed private and personal. What the F was she doing? Okay, it's all about yoga.
That's a lot of emails, brother. That's a lot of emails.
The whole point of yoga is that it relaxes you, so you don't have to write emails about yoga.
Also, HA, wouldn't it open the government up to litigation concerning other people who lost their credentials? Yeah, Petraeus, for instance. I mean, all he did was share information, talk to his mistress about some stuff he shouldn't have talked to her about. He did not get her access. I mean,
and she had clearance.
There you go. That's the other point. The
thing with Clinton's emails is this: no doubt, other nations have the emails. Defense Secretary Robert Gates states that it's almost a certainty that other people have the emails. Michael Hayden, the former NSA director, said the unclassified emails, like what she's eating for lunch, where she's going, is of use to other intelligence agencies. Okay? Just the timing of what she's doing. Hey, I'm flying here at this time. That's of use. Lieutenant General Michael Flynn, who was the head of the Defense Intelligence Agency under President Obama, said this was on CNN with Jake Tapper. He said he would have been fired, and he would have probably gone to jail. So this thing is so huge, and nobody's talking about this. The Clinton Foundation. Okay, this is why I love Bernie Sanders, and another reason why I voted for Barack Obama is that they don't have all these things going on where half the time they're spending on their private, personal emails. The Clinton Foundation, Donald Trump, this is a fact, donated $100,000 to the Clinton Foundation. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia donated 10 to 25 million to the Clinton Foundation. Donald Trump and Saudi Arabia do not have the same value system. So my thing is, you have two polar opposites donating to one foundation that is already known to give weapons, that is owned by or controlled by a person who's known to give weapons deals when she received money. Okay, that's what the whole weapons deal scandal is. Also, it's against the law as a government official to get money from foreign nations. She was able to circumvent that with her foundation. So the whole thing with the foundation is people say, well, you know, she's not buying things with the money that she gets. No, but it's political influence. So with the foundation, if I can go ahead and I can speak to literally the leaders of foreign nations under the guise of, well, it's my charity, that is immense political influence, and that also helps with fundraising. That also helps with a whole lot of things. You know, so if let's say the CEOs of multinational corporations are giving money to my foundation, and it's under the guise, well, I'm helping the planet, you know, I'm helping humanity. That is fundraising. That is taking money while you're a government official through a charitable organization. So it's essentially honest graft. And there's been articles talking about the Clinton Foundation. So this whole thing with the FBI, when they say, well, you know, she would have been charged already. She obstructed justice. They asked for her server. She said, no way. She wiped it clean. If you or I did that, we'd be done.
That'd be it. That'd be the end of the story. That would be the story of H.A. and Tim Black. They were gone, no longer to be heard.
Exactly. Game over.
I want people to know I've worked at a government agency as one of the tech people in charge of an executive branch of an Obama appointee, his agency. And I'm gonna tell you, I've been questioned by the OIG, Office of Inspector General. You don't just say, "Hey, no, I'm good." You know, when they ask me, when they say, "Tim Black, we need to speak with you in regard to XYZ," you go. You don't say, "No, I'm good, man. I'm just chilling out. I really don't feel like I have anything to tell you of any substance." That's the first thing. The second thing is there are a lot of people out there, for some reason, they believe that the fact that there hasn't been a smoking gun directly tying information from Hillary Clinton to some nefarious action by an enemy to the United States doesn't mean it won't happen. Maybe they'll do something and they won't say, "Hey, we did this because of this." But the information is out there. Sometimes, don't expect people to. I would not expect ISIS, for instance, or any other enemy of the states to do something and then leave all of this verifiable breadcrumbs just laying around to how they were able to pull it off.
Exactly.
Hillary was Secretary of State and she never used the equipment provided to her for that position. That should be enough for you to really say, "Hey." But HA, one last thing I want to say about that part is this. Some people believe that Hillary, regardless to all of this, that she is still the best candidate because they think that she can win. Please, HA, look, if people if they choose to ignore everything we've said,
all right,
we must deliver to them a sound reason for them to understand.
Number one, Tim.
Yes.
I question the motivation of people who say that, or I question the belief that people really hate Trump. When you hear people say, "I can't stand Trump, I can't stand Trump," say, "Well, who are you voting for? Clinton." Okay, why are you voting for Clinton? She loses to Trump in an average of polls, the Antichrist, Donald Trump. And by the way, Tim, we'll know if there's collusion. Right? We'll know if there's collusion between Trump and Clinton. If he goes streaking naked down Pennsylvania Avenue,
right,
and then her poll numbers go up, that's collusion right there. Forget about it. That's no conspiracy anymore. It's collusion.
Right.
But she loses now. Everybody knows Trump is an a-hole, crazy, narcissist, cuckoo, loony. Everybody knows that. She's losing to him now. Now everybody knows Trump. She's losing to him now, and November 8, 2016 is a while away. So she's losing now in an average of polls. When she was up in polls, that's all you heard about. "Oh, Clinton's up in polls." Now the polls don't matter to them. Okay. Right. The second thing is she will get indicted. So the FBI is going to indict her because of precedent. If you think, if there are Hillary supporters watching, think H.A. Goodman's crazy. Precedent. Forget about me. They're going to work overtime. If they allow Clinton to get away with this, every government official could kind of sort of do what she did and use her as a defense. Say, "Hey, you know what? Clinton did this and there was top secret information on her private server, so I can." Then the Republicans can do it. Then Trump can do it, right? You don't want that.
You don't want that.
So the thing is, she's going to get indicted, or best case scenario, she doesn't. And 4 years of Clinton, and this is the third big thing, Tim. All you have to tell people is this. You want 8 years of Ted Cruz? Put 4 years of Clinton in there.
Oh, yeah.
I know that.
Oh,
it's not.
you invoke the name Ted Cruz, HA, man.
If we want 8 years of Ted Cruz, it would be 4 years of Clinton and emails and impeachment and craziness, and because she has civil suits also. So, and she might even be recorded in a deposition. So that'll be fun. Okay. And her top aides will be, so we can watch her literally asking questions in her top aides. So the 4 years of scandal, even if somebody thinks she's qualified, that's not going to leave the country in a place where they want another Democrat for after she leaves. With Bernie, the worst that, Bernie is going to invigorate Democrats. He's going to get people to the polls. There's so many people, millennials, people in high school. The Democratic Party needs people in high school, and they need people to vote. Go and vote.
Right.
Clinton is not inspiring. I wouldn't drive 2 minutes to see Clinton speak, and I don't think most people would. And anyway, I couldn't afford the $30,000 a plate dinner.
That is an obstacle.
Yeah.
There is a
And so,
barrier of entry there for me as well. My son is he was 17. He turned 18 and he voted this year for the first time, of course. And he didn't even, it wasn't even a question about who he was voting for. I mean, there was no one else on the radar at all for him. It was definitely Bernie Sanders. And I don't know, man. For me, the biggest thing to me, I try to tell people is independents carry the day. Whoever can attract the independents are the ones who will attract the presidency. They will win the presidency. Yep. And that is Bernie Sanders, guys. Do you really think independents are lining up behind Hillary? All of the data tells you no.
Only 8%. Bernie gets 40+% of independents. Trump gets 25+25%. Hillary gets 8%. And not only that, independents are independents because they don't want people who are under FBI criminal investigation. So that's why you're independent. If you're a Democrat, you're kind of like, well, gee, I hope you know. No, they're independent. They don't want the craziness from the right or the left. So they're independent. And 40% of the nation, so 40% of the American electorate is independent. They consider themselves independent voters. So they're not affiliated with Republicans or Democrats. But no, you're right, 100%. I mean, there's so many reasons to vote for Bernie Sanders. I do believe Bernie Sanders will win the nomination. I don't think this is about delegate count. I think she's going to get indicted. I think she's going to drag her feet. When she gets indicted, then she's going to say, I'm still qualified. It's a Republican scandal. Then slowly things will turn because you just see it right now. There were articles, Tim, written today that look like I wrote them. And these are.
I know. I had to look at a little bit of a mainstream dribble, and I watched a little bit of Chuck Todd, and Chuck Todd sounded like H.A. Goodman.
Exactly.
I was like, wow, it's an out-of-body experience. What's going on? The ventriloquist dummy, these actually was bringing up issues. He said, how the heck do you expect us to believe this was about convenience when who wants a server in their house?
Who wants server in their house? Exactly. And I'll leave it at this for your listeners and for your viewers. You explain from an IT background because you have an IT background. If there are any people who watch Tim Black in the comments section, I'm interested in your thoughts. How did she get those 22 top secret emails from a secured government network onto her private server? I mean, you explained, and I think that's the answer. But if anybody else has a similar answer, a different answer, or a differing IT perspective, please write that down in the comment section of the Tim Black Show, because I think that's the big issue here that no other Secretary of State did. They didn't do any of this. They didn't have the FBI investigation. How do you get SAP information, which consists of projects, black projects that are said not to exist? How do you get that on a private server, unguarded, unencrypted for 3 months, from a State Department secure network to a private server? How does that happen?
That's a question that only that's why that man has immunity, I would think, H.A. Hey, H.A., there's a question in the QA for you. I don't know if you can see this.
I can't see it.
Okay, currently answering. Let's see. Today, Hillary Clinton said she didn't want any risk of the personal being accessible. Please comment on her response. She didn't want any risk of the personal being accessible. What do you think about that? She said she just didn't want her personal stuff being accessible. That's why she had that extra server. I think you pretty much answered it, but I wanted to show the interactivity of us at least responding to a couple questions if you can.
Her personal stuff is public stuff if it's on a private server when she's a government official. So if I'm working for you, Tim, let's say you contract me out and I'm in your office, but I use my own private server, you have access to that because you're paying me. And let's say you paid me and I used the money you gave me for that private server. So the thing is, and also as a government official, she didn't have government oversight. So we already know there's 2,200 classified, 22 top secret emails on her. We don't know what's in those private emails because it wasn't, apparently they used a keyword search. So her lawyer or her aides used a keyword search. How on earth are you going to find any type of relevant data that's classified with a keyword search? So it's true, she wanted to hide. If she's admitting she wanted to hide today, then that's even more reason that she broke laws, the Espionage Act laws. Look, I mean, at the end of the day, she's in every single major poll, she's viewed as not honest and trustworthy. This not only confirms it For me, I wouldn't trust her if she said convenience. It's obviously she had a political motive, because whether she wanted to hide from Republicans, or whether she wanted to talk about the foundation, or whether she wanted to use her Secretary of State position to say, hey, I'm the Secretary of State, I want to be president soon. Hook me up with some money for my foundation, and I'll hook you up when I'm president. So that's
wow. And I also want to say this, because a lot of people may not know, to HA's point, listen, there are many people who work for the government in positions such equivalent to Secretary of State who have multiple devices. Let me tell you, if I had to manage people, I had an executive working for a department agency who had a laptop, a iPad, a BlackBerry, and an iPhone. Hillary had a problem having 2 devices. Is that really what you want to believe? Now, I know all people are different, but come on. There's one device for, one government device, and you got your own personal. That is really not that much stuff, guys. Most of us can understand having two things for 2 separate uses.
And the NSA said she couldn't have the BlackBerry, and she told the NSA to go, F themselves. Yeah. So the thing is, if it's beyond like, there are rules or guidelines or laws, and then there's Hillary Clinton or Bill Clinton, and they just do their own thing. And the thing is, their supporters don't hold them accountable, because the supporters are so convinced that it is a right-wing conspiracy. The Republicans are worse. She never used racism against Obama, and all these things, but they can't name one good thing she's done. So any other question?
I guess there's one more. We'll do one more. This one is, people think this is a GOP witch hunt. Please ask HA to tell the people how this is different than the other so-called scandals. That's from Newport 75. Okay,
so the Republican Party does not control the FBI, because the FBI can go after any Republican, and they have. So the FBI is an independent agency. The FBI only investigates crimes. The FBI does not do security reviews. So the Clinton campaign is the campaign of euphemism. So a witch hunt is really an FBI criminal investigation. The security review is really the FBI criminal investigation. So the FBI is not part of the Republican Party. If Donald Trump, let's just put it this way, if Donald Trump, and I think he's a buffoon, but if Donald Trump behaved like Hillary Clinton and he had an FBI security review, he'd be toast. Nobody would trust him, okay? With Clinton, it's just, whitewater again, and they tune out. Like mentally, they tune out. And that's dangerous, because if you put somebody in a position of power and you tune out mentally, you're giving them access to do anything they want. And that's not good. You got if I love Bernie, everybody knows I love Bernie, but if he had an FBI criminal investigation, I would think twice. I would say, oh man, what's going on here?
Right. So, he'd have to have a good explanation. Like I said, I mean, Bernie's my guy, man, but if he wakes up with a live hooker, a dead hooker and a live boy tomorrow, then I'm going to be wondering what's going on, because, we have trust in him. But the thing is, you can never be so fanatical, like in support of your candidate, when you no longer use logic and hold them accountable for their actions. If you do that, then you go against. And another thing, HA, and look, HA, man, I want to thank you once again for coming on the show, my friend.
Thank you.
I appreciate your courage to just say what you mean and mean what you say. It's rare in independent media. Even in independent media, we have people watching their words, HA.
I want to tell you something. I fell in love with the Tim Black Show, and it was one segment you did. It was last year, Laquan McDonald cover-up in Chicago. And you called out Rahm Emanuel, but like 10 other people. And you just like, I got you. I'm watching. I was like, whoa, I've never seen that. And these are powerful people.
Yeah.
And these are powerful people. And they're the type of people that have vendettas, the type of people go after maybe, politically. And you just went ahead and you just said, I'm watching you. I mean, all the police people, everything. That's courage. And I give you a lot of respect for that. And Tim, thank you so much for having me on. And I really appreciate everything.
Hey, man, well, thank you once again, HA. Look, guys, go follow HA. You know, if you know me, you know him, you know where to find him. But just in case you don't, go to hagoodman.com. That's his official website. Also find him on Twitter as HA Goodman Author on Twitter and Facebook. Also, what's your name on Facebook? I have you everywhere.
Well,
but HA,
it's H.A. Goodman, but I have a YouTube channel now, so it's just H.A. Goodman on YouTube. Yeah, I really appreciate Tim. I look forward to being back on very soon to talk about the indictments. And,
yes.
Yes. Pop open some bubbly and we can enjoy. And you know what? Because Bernie's going to win. He's going to win the nomination. This is not going well for the Clinton campaign and will destroy Trump. So Trump's done with Bernie Sanders. With Clinton.
Before you go, what do you think about this debate between Trump and Bernie Sanders? That thing, is that because Trump said he was joking and now he's talking about it again today. So today I'm like, I don't know what to believe now. Do you have a thought about that?
I hope it happens. Bernie's going to destroy Trump. I hope it happens. And this is actually the worst nightmare for Hillary Clinton, because not only is she going down with the FBI thing, but now the Clinton campaign looks stupid because she wouldn't debate Bernie. Bernie's like, cool, I'll debate Trump. And now it's like, really, everybody wants Bernie against Trump, right? Nobody wants two people, Clinton against Trump. They're just insulting one another. It's just and Clinton's not good on the defensive, so she'd lose the debate. And all Trump has to say is, I'm not under FBI criminal investigation. Say what you want about me. I'm not under FBI criminal investigation. I would love to see that debate with Bernie and Trump. I think Bernie would destroy Donald Trump.
Well, guys, you heard it here first, man. H.A. Goodman, my friend on the show. I will be seeing you guys again. What I'm going to do is disconnect this broadcast, and then we're going to do another broadcast without H.A. H.A.'s got some stuff to do with the family, but I will be taking phone calls. Thank you again,
Thank you,
I'll
Tim.
see you soon.
I appreciate it, Tim. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Thank you.